Hi, Chris the Trailblazer here again from NoChurchianity.net, and today I'd like to talk once again about the Christian and money. And this is an important topic for Christians because basically, where you put your money is where your heart is, and the Scripture shows this. And it's kind of disheartening if you look around the institutional church, if you look at who many of the famous, nationwide pastors, televangelists are. A good percentage of them are teaching what you call the prosperity gospel, mainly that if you tithe to God, that God will reward you, that you will be blessed financially, etc. Now, as I covered in my previous message on the Christian and money, I do believe that Christians should tithe at the least. But that tithe need not necessarily, go to the institutional church if that church is not largely helping to fulfill the Great Commission, sponsoring missionaries, feeding the hungry, etc. If it's all just spent on itself, you need to, cut that middleman out and, give to organizations directly that are doing things like that. Now, as far as prosperity goes, what does the Bible really say about Christians and money? Jesus said that it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven than it is for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. Now, that doesn't mean that it's impossible. The eye of a needle, historically meant one of those little gates within the city wall, and camels had to, hunch down to crawl through it, so it is possible. But most ministers who, have more experience than myself will tell you that there's kind of an inverse relationship between money and faith, or money and the Christian walk. They'll tell you that they've known hundreds of people who have led godly lives while being more or less poor, but they've only known a handful that were able to do it while being wealthy. And I can say in my own life that, when I've been very comfortable in my life, I too have put God on a back burner. And so perhaps, God knows this, and that's why I have something new to deal with every day. I need God for it. So, Christians, you obviously, don't need to live on the street or anything. We all need houses, cars, some type of shelter, etc. But we shouldn't be living an extravagant lifestyle. After your basic needs are met, you got a roof over your head, food on the table, maybe a little bit of money saved up for security. Everything else should belong to God. And, that doesn't mean you go and throw it all at your church or something like that. If you live in a good church, and maybe that's what you want to do. But it does mean that you should, pray to God and ask His direction and what you should do with your surplus money. If you have enough surplus money that you could go out and, spend $1,000 a month on that SUV. I'm sorry, SUV owners. I know I'm always using this example, it's just so easy. But any material good that we as American consumers go and spend money on. As Christians, we should be living our life, pointed towards God and feeding the hungry, spreading the gospel. Every day there's millions of people, they're starving throughout the world. Actually, over 1 billion. Millions and millions of people will die this year, next year, the year after that, without ever even being given the opportunity to accept Christ. They will never hear the gospel. So, I'm not telling you to do any of this in a legalistic sense. If you really don't feel God is leading you this way, I ask you to just, pray earnestly. etc. I guess you can view the tithe as the bare minimum, but to me, the tithe, if anything, is just the bare minimum, and we really shouldn't even focus on that. We should focus on just putting God first in our life in all things. And when you start doing that, I think you'll find yourself prioritizing things very differently. And if it comes from within, I think you'll be amazed at the things you'll find yourself doing. So any comments or concerns, you can reach me through my website, NoChurchianity.net, and I pray that you all start, helping God expand His kingdom, and have a blessed day.